Long before our modern machines, long before steel, electricity, or even written language, there were builders who created structures so precise, so advanced, that we still struggle to understand how they were made. These are not legends. These are not myths. These are physical, measurable, and undeniable works of engineering that exist all around the world, created at a time when humanity was supposedly primitive. Our story begins high in the Bolivian Andes at a site called Pumapunku. From above, it looks like a shattered stone city. But when you walk among its scattered blocks, something becomes clear. These stones were not shaped by crude tools. They were engineered. Perfectly flat surfaces, razor-sharp edges, and most mysteriously, the iconic H-shaped blocks, each one carved with exact angles and interlocking geometries. Modern engineers who analyze these stones say the same thing. To recreate these cuts today, you would need high-speed diamond tools or CNC machines. Yet according to official history, the people of the region had no metal tools capable of such precision. No written mathematics. No machinery. So how did they do it? Across the world, another ancient mystery rises from the Lebanese hills, Baalbek. Here lies one of the most impossible engineering feats ever discovered. The trilithon. 3 stones, each weighing over 800 tons, perfectly aligned in a raised platform. To put that into perspective, each stone is heavier than a fully loaded Boeing 747. The largest cranes on Earth today, in the 21st century, can't move a single one of these stones. They are too heavy, too awkward, and too massive. And yet thousands of years ago, somebody not only moved them, they lifted them, aligned them, and placed them with millimeter-level precision. No wheels, no engines, no industrial machinery. So again, how? But it doesn't stop there. In Egypt, another clue appears. Not in the pyramids, but in simple stone cores found in ancient quarries. These cores contain spiral markings that match the pattern made by high-speed rotary drills. Some of these marks show a cutting rate so fast that even modern drills struggle to replicate it. Yet official history insists the Egyptians only had copper chisels and abrasive sand. So what are we looking at? Coincidence? Or evidence of an ancient technology? Something advanced, something forgotten, used across different civilizations that supposedly never communicated? As we trace these mysteries across continents, a strange pattern emerges. The same precision, the same engineering, the same impossible techniques, but here's the strangest part. These civilizations were separated by oceans, language, and time, yet their stonework follows the same mysterious standards. Perfect cuts, impossible weights, geometries that modern craftsmen admire but cannot explain. Did they discover a technology we have lost? Did they possess tools made of materials that didn't survive? Or did they pass down a shared global knowledge that faded through time? In this documentary, we explore one possibility, that humanity once reached a level of engineering far more advanced than we realize, long before the earliest records of history, a level erased by disaster, by war, by time itself. Because when we look at these ancient sites not as myths, but as engineering puzzles, a new story begins to emerge. A story suggesting that the people of the distant past understood physics, stone manipulation, and construction techniques in ways we still struggle to replicate today. This is the first chapter in uncovering the forgotten technologies of the ancients, a story carved in stone, waiting for us to finally understand it.
Deep within the Amazon rainforest, explorers have long returned with stories that sound more like legend than reality. Tales of tribal shamans who carried a strange liquid, a mixture made from jungle plants that could soften stone. To outsiders, it seemed impossible. Stone does not melt. It does not bend. But the Amazon is a place where the unknown still survives, and the more we study the ancient world, the more these stories begin to make sense. Our journey begins thousands of miles away, high in the Andes Mountains, where the Inca civilization once thrived. Walk the streets of Cusco or the fortress walls of Sacsayhuaman, and one thing becomes immediately clear. These stones, some weighing 100 tons or more, fit together with surgical precision. No mortar, no gaps, no room for even a sheet of paper to slide between them. The official story says they carved these stones using hammerstones, simple rounded river rocks. But if you examine the stones up close, something doesn't add up. The edges curve smoothly as if molded. The faces are rounded in a way that suggests shaping, not carving. And the interlocking faces show unique depressions and bulges that fit like puzzle pieces, a style of stonework almost impossible to achieve with pounding tools. Some archaeologists have quietly asked the question, Were the Inca shaping stone while it was soft? This brings us back to the Amazon. In the 20th century, explorers like Percy Fawcett and Hiram Bingham reported witnessing tribes using a mysterious plant-based solution that made rock seem like wet clay. One explorer described watching a stone birdhouse soften enough to reshape by hand. Another reported that a carved path through solid rock appeared to have been scooped out rather than chiseled. Of course, these stories were dismissed as exaggeration until chemists studied the local plants. One plant, the jacha or pito plant, contains a powerful organic acid capable of breaking down the calcium carbonate in limestone. Another plant produces a resin that reacts chemically with granite. When mixed correctly and heated, the result can indeed make certain stones pliable for a short period of time. Modern experiments have shown that even a mild acid can soften the surface of limestone to the consistency of soap, soft enough to shape, smooth, and mold. This could explain the mysterious smoothness of Inca stonework. It could explain why their blocks bend around corners, why their walls seem to flow into each other, and why no hammer marks appear on the surface. Instead of chiseling stone for months, what if they softened it, shaped it, and let it harden? It would also explain the strange melted appearance of some pre-Columbian stone carvings found in Peru and Bolivia, artifacts that do not look carved at all but formed. If this technology did exist, then it represents a scientific breakthrough, the manipulation of stone at a chemical level, discovered long before modern chemistry. But here is the tragedy. The Inca kept their knowledge orally. Their priests, engineers, and stoneworkers held secrets passed down through generations, none of it written. And when the Spanish arrived in the 1500s, much of that knowledge vanished within a single generation. The Spaniards themselves wrote about it. One conquistador described watching Inca workers smooth a stone block with what he called a potion. Another wrote that they saw liquid fire applied to rock. Did the Inca truly possess a chemical technology that allowed them to manipulate stone like clay? Did jungle tribes hold formulas that are now lost forever? And was the key to this technology hidden in plants, chemistry, and knowledge of nature that we are only beginning to rediscover? What is certain is this: the Inca stonework stands untouched by earthquakes that shattered every other structure around them. Their walls flex, move, and settle, as if they were created with an understanding of geology far beyond their time. Whether they carved the stones with tools we've lost, or softened them with chemistry we no longer understand, one truth remains: they knew something we do not, a forgotten science, a lost technology, one that reshaped mountains, built empires, and vanished into the smoke of history. This is forgotten technologies of the ancients. And the mystery of stone softening is only one chapter in a much bigger, much older story.
Electricity. We think of it as a modern invention, the heartbeat of our world, the current that powers our lights, our machines, our lives. But what if electricity is not as new as we think? What if ancient civilizations once harnessed a form of energy that disappeared long before the light bulb and left only fragments behind? Our journey begins in 1936 when workers digging near Baghdad uncovered a simple clay jar. Inside it, a copper cylinder, an iron rod, and traces of acidic residue. To the untrained eye, it looked ordinary. But when reconstructed, the device produced a small but unmistakable electrical charge. This artifact became known as the Baghdad Battery, and it shook the archaeological world because this was not a symbolic item, not a decorative object, but a functional device capable of generating direct current. Some researchers believe it was used for electroplating, the process of applying metal coatings using electricity, something we thought we invented in the 1800s. Others argue it served medical purposes, delivering mild stimulation for pain or therapeutic treatments. Whatever its purpose, one fact remains: 2,000 years ago, someone understood how to create a functioning battery. But this is just one piece of the story. Thousands of miles away in Egypt, inside the Temple of Hathor at Dendera, carvings show what many interpret as long, bulb-shaped objects connected to a thick cable-like structure with what looks like a generator behind them. Mainstream scholars dismiss this as symbolic artwork, but experimental engineers took the carving seriously, and surprisingly, they discovered that when built using ancient materials, the design could produce light. Not bright, modern electric light, but a faint glowing plasma discharge, the kind you would see inside an early arc lamp. Even more curious, ancient Egyptian statues and artifacts show signs of electroplating and anti-static coatings, processes that shouldn't exist in societies without electricity. But the intrigue does not stop there. In ancient India, texts from thousands of years ago reference Vajra lighting, devices that produced illuminating energy. Chinese documents describe stones that glow on command, and Greek historians wrote of temples where doors opened automatically, powered by hidden steam pressure and possibly early electrical principles combined with mechanics. The more we look, the more it becomes clear. The ancient world experimented with forms of energy that we are only now beginning to recognize. But one question remains: if they understood electricity, why didn't it survive? The answer might lie in how fragile early scientific knowledge truly was. In the ancient world, science lived in the minds of a few: priests, inventors, scribes, and temple engineers. Their discoveries were rarely written for the public. They belonged to sacred orders, passed through rituals, guarded as secrets. And when empires fell, when temples were burned, when libraries were destroyed, their knowledge vanished with them. The Baghdad battery was forgotten. The dendrolites were abandoned. The old mechanisms rusted into the sand. And the world had to rediscover electricity thousands of years later, as if for the first time. But imagine for a moment what the ancient world would have looked like if this knowledge had continued. If electroplating advanced into wiring, if plasma illumination evolved into lighting systems, if energy experimentation became common instead of lost, history might have looked very different. What we are left with today are clues: scattered, incomplete, mysterious, yet undeniably real. Artifacts that do not fit into the standard story of human progress. Devices that prove ancient people were curious, inventive, and capable of experimentation far beyond what we give them credit for. Perhaps electricity was not discovered once, but twice. Once in the ancient world, lost to time, and once by us thousands of years later. As we continue uncovering the forgotten technologies of the ancients, one truth becomes impossible to ignore. Civilizations rise, civilizations fall. But the intelligence of humanity has always been there. Even in the distant past, when we think the world was dark, someone somewhere was lighting it. And maybe, just maybe, the sparks of their forgotten genius are still waiting to be understood.
In 1901, off the coast of a small Greek island, a group of sponge divers made a discovery that would rewrite history. From the depths of a shipwreck, they pulled up statues, pottery, jewellery, and one strange, corroded lump of bronze. At first, no one paid attention to it. It looked like nothing. A rusted metal brick fused by centuries underwater. But inside this forgotten object was a secret the ancient world had hidden for 2,000 years. When scientists examined it, they found gears. Not one or two, but more than 30 interlocking bronze gears, precisely cut with teeth so fine, they rivaled the mechanics of 18th century clockmakers. This was the Antikythera mechanism, the world's first analog computer. It predicted eclipses, tracked planetary movements, and mapped the cycles of the heavens with uncanny accuracy. This was not a toy, not a decoration. It was a scientific instrument, a machine so advanced that nothing like it appeared again for over 1,000 years. How did ancient Greece build something so precise? And why did this technological lineage disappear? To understand that, we must look beyond Greece, because the ancient world was full of machines far more advanced than we're taught. In ancient Egypt, engineers used water clocks capable of measuring time through constant pressure flow. They built automatic statues that moved when fires were lit, using a hidden system of air pressure. Some temples had doors that opened on their own when priests approached, powered not by magic, but by physics. The ancient Romans built mechanisms that were centuries ahead of their time. Vending machines that dispensed holy water, automatic rotating stages for theatre, hydraulic systems that lifted platforms and opened gates. Roman engineers like Hero of Alexandria described steam-powered devices, including a spinning sphere called the eolipile, considered by some the earliest form of a steam engine. Imagine what the world might have looked like if these ideas had continued, if they had evolved into engines, machines, industry. But the story becomes even more mysterious when we travel to ancient China. Thousands of years ago, Chinese inventors built the world's first seismograph, a massive bronze device capable of detecting earthquakes hundreds of miles away. It worked through a delicate balance of internal mechanisms, releasing a small bronze ball from the mouth of one dragon when distant tremors were felt, a level of sensitivity modern scientists were shocked to confirm. In India, giant stone observatories like Janta Manta served as astronomical computers powered not by gears, but by geometry. These weren't temples. They weren't monuments. They were instruments. Enormous machines of stone designed to measure the heavens with precision. And yet, despite all these inventions, despite the brilliance of the ancient engineers, almost none of their technology survived. Why? Because ancient machines were made of metal, and metal rusts, melts, breaks, and is recycled during war. Unlike stone temples, metal devices do not stand the test of time. When empires fell, when fires destroyed libraries, when war looted workshops, when kingdoms collapsed, the machines disappeared first, and with them, the knowledge of how they were built. By the time the Middle Ages began, humanity had forgotten that the ancient world even had mechanical technology. We believed we were the first to invent gears, precision tools, clocks, and engines. But the truth is much older. We rediscovered what ancient civilizations had already known. The Antikythera mechanism is not an outlier. It is a survivor, a rare artifact that escaped destruction. A whisper from a world where engineers achieved brilliance only for history to erase it. Imagine how many machines were built in Alexandria before the fires. How many inventions were created in Roman workshops before the empire collapsed? How many devices were lost in ancient China, Mesopotamia, or the Indus Valley? These ruins, these fragments, these clues, they are pieces of a puzzle. They tell us that the ancient world was far more technologically sophisticated than we imagined. Not industrial, not electrical, but capable, curious, inventive, and intelligent. They understood mechanics. They understood motion. They understood the power of gears, pressure, and precision. We are not the first advanced civilization. We are only the first to survive long enough to record it securely. This is forgotten technologies of the ancients, and the machines of the ancient world are only one part of the story.
Across the ancient world, civilizations looked to the night sky not with wonder, but with precision. To them, the heavens were not distant stars. They were blueprints, guiding life, power, and destiny. And some of these sky maps are so accurate, they challenge everything we think we know. In Peru, high in the Andes, the mysterious Chanquillo Observatory stands like a broken crown in the desert. Built over 2,300 years ago, its 13 stone towers align so perfectly with the rising and setting sun that it functions as a solar calendar nearly as precise as the ones we use today. No gears, no computers. Just flawless engineering and astronomical mastery. Thousands of miles away in ancient Egypt, the Dendera zodiac maps constellations with a level of detail that seems almost impossible. Not only stars, but planetary positions, seasonal cycles, and even eclipse patterns. Scholars debate its purpose, but one truth remains. Whoever carved it understood the sky on a level we still struggle to match. And then there's the Nebra sky disk, buried for 3,600 years beneath German soil. A bronze circle etched with gold stars, the sun, the moon, and a cosmic arc scholars believe marks the winter solstice. It is the oldest known depiction of the heavens, and it is shockingly accurate. These discoveries reveal one undeniable fact. Ancient people were not just staring at the sky, they were measuring it, mapping it, and encoding knowledge that would disappear for millennia. And slowly, piece by piece, we're realizing they may have known far more than we ever imagined. If you enjoyed this journey into the forgotten brilliance of our ancestors, make sure to subscribe and be on the lookout for episode 2 of our new season, Lost Ancient Technology, where we dive even deeper into the mysteries the ancient world left behind.